After Jesus finished presenting all his words among the people, he entered Capernaum. The centurion had a servant who was very important to him, but the servant was ill and about to die. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to Jesus to ask him to come and heal his servant. When they reached Jesus, they earnestly pleaded with Jesus. "He deserves to have you do this for him," they said. "He loves our people and he built our synagogue for us." Jesus went with them. He had almost reached the house when the centurion sent friends to say to Jesus, "Lord, don't be bothered. I don't deserve to have you come under my roof. In fact, I didn't even consider myself worthy to come to you. Just say the word and my servant will be healed. I'm also a man appointed under authority with soldiers under me. I say to one, go, and he goes. And to another, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this. And the servant does it." When Jesus heard these words, he was impressed with the centurion. He turned to the crowd following him and said, "I tell you that even in Israel I haven't found faith like this." When the centurion's friends returned to his house, they found the servant restored to health. A little later, Jesus went to a city called Nain. His disciples and a great crowd traveled with him. As he approached the city gate, a dead man was being carried out. He was his mother's only son, and she was a widow. A large crowd from the city was with her. When he saw her, the Lord had compassion for her and said, "Don't cry." He stepped forward and touched the stretcher on which the dead man was being carried. Those carrying him stood still. Jesus said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to speak, and Jesus gave him to his mother. Awestruck, everyone praised God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to help his people." This news traveled throughout Judea and the surrounding region. John's disciples informed him about all these things. John called 2 of his disciples and sent them to the Lord. They were to ask, "Are you the one who is coming, or should we look for someone else?" When they reached Jesus, they said, "John the Baptist sent us to you." He asked, "Are you the one who is coming, or should we look for someone else?" Right then, Jesus healed many of their diseases, illnesses, and evil spirits, and he gave sight to a number of blind people. Then he replied to John's disciples, "Go, report to John what you have seen and heard. Those who are blind are able to see. Those who are crippled now walk. People with skin diseases are cleansed. Those who are deaf now hear. Those who are dead are raised up, and good news is preached to the poor. Happy is anyone who doesn't stumble along the way because of me." After John's messengers had gone, Jesus spoke to the crowds about John. "What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A stalk blowing in the wind? What did you go out to see? A man dressed up in refined clothes? Look, those who dress in fashionable clothes and live in luxury are in royal palaces. What did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I tell you, and more than a prophet. He is the one of whom it's written, 'Look, I'm sending my messenger before you, who will prepare your way before you.'" I tell you that no greater human being has ever been born than John, yet whoever is least in God's kingdom is greater than he. Everyone who heard this, including the tax collectors, acknowledged God's justice because they had been baptized by John. But the Pharisees and legal experts rejected God's will for themselves because they hadn't been baptized by John. "To what will I compare the people of this generation?" Jesus asked. "What are they like? They're like children sitting in the marketplace calling out to each other, 'We played the flute for you and you didn't dance. We sang a funeral song and you didn't cry.' John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and you say he has a demon, yet the human one comes eating and drinking, and you say, 'Look, a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners.' But wisdom is proved to be right by all her descendants."